Right, hi everybody, it's Mr. Bowen here. I'm going to talk to you today about the Romeo and Juliet extract question, which is the first one we can see here. Now, the thing is about the play, obviously it's quite long, lots of words, lots of scenes and acts, but you will be asked in the exam to talk about one little part of it. There it is. You can see it here, that they give it for you. And your idea is to do two things, basically. Tell me what's just happened, which part of the story is this from, and then secondly, you've got to do your spot and comment. And to get the highest grades, you're going to try and develop those comments and maybe think about what the audience are going to be, what their viewpoint of this section of the story is. So let's start off here like we always do. We're looking at the question and we're trying to take out the key words. So look at how Romeo and Benvolio speak and behave here. So I know it's going to have these guys in. So already I'm starting to think, well, when is it there's just the two of them around in this play? I'm also looking at how they speak and behave. So what are they saying to each other? Well, how are they acting? Are they being supportive? Are they having an argument? And what's kind of going on there? These are the things I'm starting to think about before I even look at the extract. How do you think an audience might respond? That is really key. I have to say to everybody, that will be in every single exam that English Lit for Educas ever do. They love that question. That is it. How do the audience? Now, for audience, you're thinking basically me. It's me. How am I? I'm watching it. It could be on the stage, could be on the screen. I might even be listening to it. You get audio books of things like that. How am I supposed to react at this point while I'm watching it? What's going through my head? That's what the audience bit means. It says refer closely to details, so I need to make sure I've got my spot and comments. And I'm just working through what I've picked up basically here. You've done this sort of skill loads of times. The issue you've got with Shakespeare, of course, is that it is quite complicated sometimes. Some of the language is not easy to read and understand. So the biggest challenge is for you to find the easy stuff. If you can do that and you work out what's going on, then that'll give you a brilliant way in to answering this particular question. So I'm looking over now at the extract and I can see, if you can see that, oh yeah, there it is. So what sadness lengthens Romeo's hours? So now I'm thinking, when do we see Benvolio and Romeo together and when Romeo is sad? And that's quite obvious for me. I think it's near the start where he's wondering about Rosaline. He hasn't met Juliet yet. He loves her. She's not interested in him. We know that mum and dad, Romeo's mum and dad, are both quite worried about him. So they've asked Benvolio to find out what's happening. And that's all I would write as my overview. I would say, what has just happened? And the easiest way of doing that is if I'm writing down my answer, I'm going to be saying, so it's 1.1. This extract, I'm always trying to use words from the question. I've said the extract. So this extract comes just after Romeo's dad has asked Benvolio to find out why his son is sorry, I can't see that. His son is sad. That's what's happened. Now we know that it's about Rosaline. I'm not yet sure whether Benvolio knows it yet. I don't think that Romeo's told him yet, but he's definitely asking. And the first thing you've got to remember about the extract is, why are they starting it here? Why is that the first line? And the answer is because it's the scene is several pages long and they've only given us one page of it. So why start there? Well, it's quite obvious. That is a quote we could use. There is something on that line that we can use. And as you can see, what sadness lengthens Romeo's hours. You know, what is making Romeo's day really long? Why is he so sad? What's up with him? And that's what I'll do. I'll use that one as my first quote. The other thing, of course, works at the bottom when we say why is why have we stopped there? We didn't have to stop there. We could have stopped there. Farewell, my cuz. But he doesn't. He keeps that one in. Whoever the examiner was, they've left that one there. So the same reason. There must be something on that line we can use. And Romeo says, this is not Romeo. It's like going, I'm not being me. I'm not acting like myself. I need to give myself a bit of a talking to, basically, because I'm not being myself. And that's what I'll use for that one. So now I've got, out of my 5 quotes, I've got 2. So I need to try and work out what else I could use. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide it up. We love sectioning things off in English, you know that. See if I can find it. I realise, yeah, there we go. So we're going from the top. I'm looking at the bottom. So that tells me where the middle is, which is about there. And then I'm looking at the 2 gaps. That way, that one. So there's my 5 dots. I'm going to use those to roughly find something to say. So I'm going to put my first line there. So that's my first little section, and I've got one there. I'm going to use that one. You can see it. Yeah, so I've got the one there. Then I'm in my second section. Where would I put? Probably about there, I think. Will make sense. 1, 2. I'll go for. I mean, it's not a rough science. It's not an exact science. We're just trying to. There and maybe there. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's my one for the 5th one. So I've got my first one, my last one. I just need to try and find something in the middle bits, and I've got to look easy. I've got to look for the easy stuff. There's so much complicated stuff because it's Shakespeare. I have to look for easy stuff. So the best way of doing this for me is I use punctuation. I'm not going to worry about this one because I've got my first one. What sadness lent his hours. That's telling me that he wants to know. Oops. Why Romeo is so sad. Okay. So then we've got that one sorted. That's my spot and comment. Now I'm looking in this bit, and what the trick is with Shakespeare is to use the punctuation. So I'm going to basically, think it's like bricks in a wall. So all I'm doing is dividing it up into bits. So instead of reading the whole thing, I'm dividing it up into sections. And this can really help you. So if we take, I don't know, let's see. I'm out of her favour where I am in love. I'm out of her favour. Well, if you're not in someone's favour, you're not their favourite. You kind of annoyed them in some way. You're not in their good books. So that's a possible one. I could have could be out of her favour in her bad books. Alas tends to be, I'm so sorry to hear that. The love so gentle in his view should be so tyrannous and rough in proof. Now, if you're not sure about tyrannous, we're saying that love is going to be rough. He's saying, I'm really sorry that love is making you feel like really bad. It's putting you through the ringer. It's putting you through a real problem. And he says, yeah, alas, it's true, that is. It's a nightmare. The love should, without eyes, see pathways to his will. Now, I don't really get that. I'm not really understanding that. So I'm going to just scrap it. Where shall we dine? Well, that's pretty straightforward. It's a bit of a change of topic, but he's saying, yeah, where are we going to go and eat? And then it's, oh, me. It's like, oh, for God's sake, what fray was here? Now, a fray is another word for fight. So he's like, oh, right, who's been fighting? What's happened here? And then he says, yeah, tell me not. Don't tell me. I've heard it all. There's no surprises here. It's as much to do with hate, but more with love. Now, I always think that is, you say you hate each other, but you love fighting. You love getting in each other's faces. It's like you're obsessed with each other, is what he's saying there. To me, and then he does this weird little thing here where he puts loads of oxymorons or opposites together. So he's talking about brawling love, fighting love, loving hate, opposites. Serious vanity. Vanity is like really sort of a bit flippant and a bit jokey. Serious. Heavy lightness. That's an easy one to kind of spot. Opposites. How can something be heavy? How can something be light? Here's another really easy one. Feather of lead. You know, he's trying to say feathers are normally really, really light. Lead is really heavy. How can you have bright smoke? Smoke isn't bright. It's quite dull. Cold, fire, sick, health. We've still waking, sleep. And what we're trying to, I'm thinking to myself, why put all those opposites there? Why put opposites? And for me, that just tells me that his head is kind of all over the place. So his head is very confused. He doesn't kind of know what he's doing, what he's saying. He's got all those opposites together there. And then, do you not laugh? He says, are you laughing at me? He says, no, cause I'd rather weep. So that could be a nice, easy one. I feel sorry for you. I'm gutted for you, mate, basically. And he says, why? He says, well, your good heart is getting oppressed. He's getting beaten down. He's getting treated badly. So that's why, you know, you're so upset about this stuff. And I'm really feeling for you, friend. And he calls him a cuz. Now, cuz is short for cousin. I suppose nowadays you'd say it's something like bro or G, but please don't say that in your exam. Just say it shows that they've kind of got they're really good with each other. They're comfortable. They've got like these little nicknames for each other. So that shows they're in a good place. That they listen to each other and they're friends. So he says, okay, Romeo, there's something in here. There must be something in here. And remember what we're going to do. We're going to try and break it down into bits and try and find the easy bit. If it sounds complicated, I'm going to leave it, okay? And I'm going to, so I'm putting it through. Who's the comma there? And now this is quite complex. There's lots of words you might not see here, but I'm kind of, as I'm looking at it, I'm not giving up. I'm just going to keep going, and I've just noticed this: a madness most discreet. Now, if I'm not sure about discreet, where it's been like sort of quiet and not making a big deal of stuff, but I know what madness is. He's talking about love, and he's saying, so I might use that if I'm not sure what else to say. I recognise that word, and I've made the link between that and that, the love and the madness. He's saying that love is a type of madness. It's quite a quiet one. It's not sort of running around sort of shouting from the rooftops. It's pretty quiet. And then he says, right, I'm going to go. You're not getting me. I've got to walk. He says, I will go along. If you leave me, you do me wrong. You're going to be disrespecting me if you walk off away from me. And then he sort of tells himself off. He gives himself a bit of a talking to. He says, oh yeah, I've lost myself. This is not Romeo. He's some otherwhere. I'm not acting like I should do. You're my mate. You're my family. I'm not acting the way I should. Okay, so that's what we've got. We've found out where it's just come from. We've split it up into bits. We're talking now about the quotes. And we'll finish off. Remember, we've got to mention the audience. They did make a big deal of that with the audience. So let's start off. What sadness lengthens Romeo's hours? Now, you know how we'd normally write this. We'd always start off and we'd say, when it says, what like sadness lengthens Romeo's hours? The best thing to do is to for my comment, I'm going to say what that means. I'm going to put it in my own words. And what do we say over here? We said he wants to know why Romeo is so sad. So this suggests that Benvolio wants to know what is up with Romeo. Okay, so there I've got my spot there, I've got my comment there, I'm started, I'm on the road, I've got something written down. Now what I've tried to say with my students at the minute is to think, well, why does he want to know what's up with Romeo? And you could say he wants it because he's a family, he cares about him. You could say that he wants to know what's wrong with him because he's been told to find out by Romeo's dad. I mean, that one seems a decent one. So we've got this idea of a comment. We're going to develop it now. We're going to add to it. And the brilliant word for that is the word because. Because he has been told to by Lord, can you remember Montague? It's Capulet, Juliet. Remember, that's how I remember it anyway. Lord Montague. Okay, so we've got ourselves two things about that. We're starting to develop our comment. We're trying to say a little bit more, and we're using the word because. And you can't see it, can you? Because it's such a... my camera's too far down. So yeah, I'll say it again. There's my spot. There's the comment. I'm starting to develop it using that magic word because. I'm starting to add extra bits of it, and I'm trying to show off what I know. So how has he been told to? Well, he's been told to ask him. He has said he will talk to Romeo to find why he's upset. Okay. Now the audience, what's the audience going? And that's what am I going to think there? Well, I mean, you think, is it thumb up or is it thumb down? It's a good thing, isn't it, that Benvolio is looking out for Romeo. So I'm going to say that's a positive thing. So that's what, and I think that's genuinely, I think that's good that he's got his friend there looking out for him. So I'm going to say that. I'm going to say what I think, but I'm going to hide it like this. I'm going to say the audience, which is me. The audience will think that Romeo is lucky to have a supportive friend in Benvolio. So what you've got here is we've got our spot, we've got our comment, we've developed it with a little bit of because, we've got the audience. The audience is kind of me, what I say. So out of that one quote, I've got all of that, and that's going to sound great. That sounds like a really decent quote there. That sounds like a really decent bit of English. We've picked something out and we've worked out what's going on, and most importantly, I've mentioned the audience. Now you will do that 4 more times, and that will be a nice piece of writing for you. We've got the overview at the start, which reminds us what's just happened. Then we pick out 5 easy-ish quotes. We go for the easy stuff, and we try and work out what we've got. If you can't think of 5, you can't think of 5. You know what I mean? But the main thing is to think the development. When you've got a comment, why is that happening? How is that going to show? How is it going to show itself? So what happens next? Those kind of things. And hopefully that will help you. Now you should take about 20 minutes to do all of this. And we have got 1 sentence, 2 sentences, 3 sentences in there. A spot, a comment, a little bit of an extension, a little bit of development, and then saying about the audience. Okay, so I hope that helps, and next time we'll talk about the actual essay itself. Cheers now.